I'm Nat, welcome to tinkandfrogknits. I'm very excited to be chatting to you about everything that I knitted in October. It's definitely like peak knitting season, everything's like beautiful autumn greens and browns, and I've just really enjoyed all my projects this month. I've got 2 finished objects, 6 WIPs. You've seen one of the WIPs before, but everything else is a new cast on, and a lot of them are not on my autumn planning video, which, yeah, it turns out I have an impulse problem. I love planning, I'm a planner, but I also love impulsively casting things on like a crazy person. So we have lots to talk about. My first finished object is my Lumme pullover. I'm not wearing it just because I want to be able to show you the jogs and stuff like that. It's a bit easier than me having to keep turning around, but I am obsessed with this sweater. I love it. It was my first colourwork garment, and it was I learned a lot. I really enjoyed the learning process, making mistakes, fixing mistakes. I feel like I got so much out of doing this project. It's a pattern by Sari Nordlund. I'm sure you've all seen it before. Worsted weight, recommended yarns Cascade 220, which I did use. It's Japanese maple and antique lilac, if you're wondering. And when it comes to yarn, actually, I did use more than the pattern recommends. I knit size 4, and I definitely used like maybe 100 meters extra to what the pattern said I would need. And that is a comment that I've seen quite a lot about a lot of Sari's patterns, that people do run out of yarn. So if you're going to knit this, please be mindful of how much yarn you use. If you want to see the exact amounts, go on my Ravelry. But I did also make this bigger than the size 4. It ended up blocking out to be more like the size 5. And if you look at the amount of yarn for size 5, I'm pretty much bang on. So, you know, whatever. This is stranded colourwork, circular yoke, German short rows underneath the colourwork on the back to raise the neck. And that's the first time I've done it not immediately after the collar. Obviously in the collar work you would have like a blank bit if you did them straight after the collar, or you would have to start your collar work in the short rows, and that sounds like a farce, doesn't it? So I understand why they were there. And there's also short rows just above the hem on the back to lower the back, so the back's just a little bit longer, and I do really like the fit of this. It ended up a little bit bigger in the yoke, so my arms come down a bit lower than it maybe should, but I don't feel like it's extreme. It's not, you know what I mean, like a crazy amount of extra fabric. I think it is still quite a nice fit. I really like the colours that I chose. I think this is just so autumn, isn't it? Just so pretty. But yeah, during this I had tension problems, floats problems, jogs problems, we had dominance problems, all the colourwork problems that I thought, oh, I know what to avoid. I got this. I didn't got it, okay. I had to frog it a few times, but that's okay. It was worth it in the end. I will show you my jogs in the round. This is the seam on the sleeve. Not bad, eh? I used a technique where you knit the round, knit the last stitch in the right colour for that round on the chart, and then you put the stitch back on your left hand needle and knit it again with the first colour from the next round. Then you knit the next round and you knit those 2 stitches together. I will share the blog post on how I do it because I'm not a natural teacher, but I think it works really well. The main thing that you can see now is kind of like a raised seam almost. Yeah, so it's just a bit 3D, shall we say, compared to the rest of it. But honestly, I'm pretty pleased with it. Obviously you've not got the step. Where it's a single colour, the stitch does get a bit lost sometimes, but I think it was a pretty good way of doing it. And I think a lot of the issues with how it looks is my tension, so the stitch maybe being a bit too tight when I lift it up, or a bit too loose, or you know what I mean, it's kind of that sort of thing, as opposed to the technique not being adequate. Because you can see here where the one at the bottom is just a little bit wee and gets a bit lost. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. Like, I don't think anyone would look at it and be like, ooh, that's clearly handmade. And yeah, but yeah, very, beautiful. The pattern is really clear, concise, you know what you're doing, the chart is clear. I have a few notes on the pattern. There was like some increases that were different randomly and stuff like that, so I have flagged all those on my Ravelry if you do want to look at my pattern notes. But overall, great pattern, clear. Loads of people have done it on Ravelry as well, so there's loads of other people's notes that you can look at when you're trying to make decisions, which I always find useful. And yeah, I think this took me 2.5 weeks to knit and cost me about £32 maybe, and that's including the pattern. So it was a really like affordable option. And I know I say that about everything I knit, but that's because I can't afford to buy nice yarns. I mean, these are nice yarns. This is like 100% wool. It's really soft. It's starting to pill a little bit, but definitely less than the like alpaca blends that I've been using for a lot of my other garments. I wore this quite a lot. I wore it to my daughter's birthday party, which 25 kids in a small room with parents and a bouncy castle. It's warm, and there was definitely a lot of moisture and friction here, so it did well. I took it out to her birthday dinner. I've wore it a couple of other like 5-6 times, so it's definitely been getting its wear. I think the like slightly more relaxed fit than intended makes it a bit more casual, and I have been wearing it more than I maybe would have if it was that bit more fitted. So I am really pleased with it, and I've definitely got the colourwork bug. I just had so much fun. Like, it's so satisfying, and like watching it grow, it kept me really engaged. The bit that I struggled with was the body. Like, it just felt like so tedious knitting that much plain stockinette once you'd done that really engaging yoke. And obviously it did go quicker because it had got smaller than the bottom of the yoke, but yeah, I did struggle with that part. It turns out I don't really love knitting stockinette like for a long time. I like to change it up and be doing different things, and that's all part of being a quite new knitter, isn't it? Learning what you enjoy, what you like doing. But recommend this pattern, loved it. I think it's beautiful. I think the fit's really nice. I think Sari's pattern writing's great, and yeah, I am very pleased with my first birthday cast on, because I cast this on the evening of my birthday as like my let's celebrate my birthday, because what else do you do when you're growing up on your birthday? And do be sure to check out my vlog on this if you like the look of this sweater and you want to see all the things that I did whilst knitting it, and just, yeah, hang out with me and knit. My second finished object is not here. Oh. My sailor slippers, or as I'm calling them, the dog hair magnets. I thought, oh, I'll use a dark colour for the sole because, like, you know, my house is always like a little bit grubby. I've got a 4-year-old, I've got a dog, like it's impossible to keep it clean. I was like, I'll make the sole dark so it doesn't look too obvious. And I forgot that my dog is like blonde, so yeah. Dog hair magnets, but these are so fun. I know that everyone's been knitting them recently. This is a pattern by Annie Sews. It came out a few weeks ago, and I've just been obsessed with these slippers ever since she showed them. I applied to test knit and unfortunately didn't get it, but as soon as the pattern came out, I was there. I was knitting. These are knitted with drop snow, which is a bulky, chunky, it's a big a big wool yarn, and then they are felted, so that was a fun new experience for me to learn. The knitting is very satisfying. It's really quick because it's on 8mm needles. It's on quite big needles. This gauge I think is 12 stitches. So first you knit this like back heel panel, then you pick up stitches and do the foot, and then on the same piece you then knit the sole, and you end up with this really long piece which you then seam together around the edges. And I think the seaming was probably the thing that I found the most difficult, just because I haven't done it before. You can see with, yeah, this one where maybe my seaming wasn't quite perfect, so there was this like little bump, but it's nothing like really noticeable. And then you can tell that this one got a lot neater. There is also then an applied I-cord edge that you put around this foothold. The I-cord, you knit it, so you like pick up a stitch, I-cord, pick up the next stitch, I cord, pick up the next stitch. I think when I make my next pair, because obviously I'm making more, I will pick up all the stitches around the foot hole first and then do the I cord, because I ended up with less on this foot than this foot. Completely my fault, not the pattern's fault. Can't count, can't keep track, don't count. Maybe it's not that I can't count, I just don't do it. And it did mean that the foot hole for this one was quite snug, because obviously when you're getting your shoes on, you've got this diagonal part which is then wider, so you do need it to be big enough to get your foot in. So this one was quite snug. I did have to kind of stretch it out quite a lot when it was wet. I mean, it fits lovely, but I do think these kind of need just a little bit longer felting, but I'm too worried about that being too small if I felt them for longer, so I'm not doing that for these ones. The colours I used are copper, peony pink and grape, and I used, well, I had 2 balls of each colour. I pretty much used the entire 2 balls for the soles, but I've definitely got plenty of leftovers for the stripe colours. The contrast colour I also just used around the top of the foot. I know there's, you know, the pattern uses a different colour, but I just used the same one, so I didn't have to buy another colour. These are UK size 6, and I put a little L in mine because I don't know my left and right. But anyway, really fun, great gift knit, really cozy. I've literally lived in these. Like, they're looking a bit felty. Obviously they look felty, but yeah, they're looking a bit dishevelled at the moment, pilly little bits. But I live in them. Like, they live by the front door. When I leave the house, they go straight on. They live by the bathroom door. When I go for a shower, they go straight on. They live by my bed. As soon as I wake up, they go straight on. Like, I am obsessed with them. In the pattern, it does say optional, put some sticky goo on to make them non-slip, and I recommend doing that because when I first made them, like, I have like well, it's not real wood, but you know, fake wood floors, and it's really fun slipping and sliding, and my daughter was like egging me on, and I was going further and further, and it's really fun. So I mean, do that. But I did then the next day fall over on my ass in the kitchen, so you know, maybe if you're clumsy like me and you've not got carpets all over your house, maybe go for the sticky goo on the bottom, because yeah, as fun as it is slipping and sliding, you don't want to hurt yourself. So that's my tip there. When it came to the felting, I just didn't overthink it. Like, I was a bit apprehensive, but then I just went, no, we're just gonna do it. So I did it with my daughter, and she thought it was magic, and I literally just chucked it in the washing machine and just waited to see. We have a front loading one, so you can't check on it whilst it's in progress during the cycle. I put it on the mixed cycle on my machine. It was about 1:20. I think it was 40 degrees. I think it was 1200 spinnies, and they came out pretty much perfect. They come out all like crumpled and funny like that, and then you kind of, you know, stretch them out. I put them on my feet whilst they were wet to kind of shape them how I wanted, and yeah, it worked fine. Like, it's not that deep. If you underfelt them, stick them back in. If you overfelt them, stretch them out whilst they're wet. Be right. Yeah, really recommend. You've seen these all over Instagram, right? So yeah, go for it. Wool Warehouse have actually basically sold out of like every colour drop snow, because I think everyone is making these and they were not prepared for the sailor slippers. But yeah, I do recommend, and if you've got people that you love, there's plenty of time to knit plenty of these before Christmas. I'm going to put these back on my feet now because I can't live without them on. And I do wear them with and without socks. They are perfectly comfortable either way. But yeah, if you're feeling extra cold, wear socks. I wore socks for this video because no one wants to see feet, okay? If you're one of those people, each to their own, but no, I'm not showing my feet. Okay, whips. I'll talk about my Lakes V-neck first, very briefly. You saw this in my last podcast, I believe, so I've not really got that many updates of interest. I have done the knitting on the body and the arms to the recommended length, so we're at this point in terms of the like stockinette knitting. I'm done, but this yarn grows widthways, shrinks lengthways, so I really need to give it a wet block. And this has just been sat like this for so long now, because this yarn, when I used it for my Sabai sweater, took so long to dry. Even in summer when it was like 20-30 degrees, it was days. And I just know it's gonna be like 4 days, and I just can't be arsed with it like sat around my house on the floor drying. But I need to do it. I'm gonna do it. I really want to try and actually finish some WIPs this month of November and kind of reduce the amount of things I have on my needles, so at least then I can, you know, rebuild it up to a crazy amount again. But yeah, so I need to wet block this just to see how much more length I need to add, because I don't want it to be too short, especially in the sleeves. No one wants sleeves that are too short. The body is like not a long jumper anyway, it's quite like hipsy kind of length. So yeah, I don't want it to like shrink up and be around my tits. It needs to be the right length. So I need to wet block it, and then I can add the extra knitting and then just do the ribbing. It has a big chunk of ribbing, but realistically this won't take me too long to knit. It's quite mindless. It's either stockinette or ribbing, 5.5mm needles I think. So it won't take me too long to finish once it has been blocked. It's just, I don't know why, I just can't be arsed blocking it because it's wet. And that's life. But yeah, I'm not going to talk too much more about that one because I have more exciting things to talk about. This is my favourite project that I've ever knit, like, and that sounds very extreme, but it doesn't, because I've only been knitting for like 7 months. I am obsessed with this. This is a test knit for Sophie Hemmings, the Knit Pearl Girl. I'm using a colour that I have been infatuated with since before I even started knitting. This is the Matcha colour by Sanders Garn in the Peacock yarn base, and I'm knitting the Gwynver sweater. This is my first time doing cables, and it's been so fun, so engaging. It looks very like detailed and intimidating, and it's actually like really easy to memorize the charts and what you're doing. And yeah, I've just found it so enjoyable. Once you get through the like trapezoid shaping and get the pattern established, it's quick and easy. You know exactly what you're doing. It's got cables, it's got mock eyelet cables, there's a bit of broken rib in this strip, and then it's got these awesome, it's got these like stockinette borders, and then that carries around the armhole as well, which is a really nice detail. This just has loads of like really lovely finishing details. The collar has a lateral braid, which I've never done before, but I think it looks amazing. It's folded double, and there's some double knitting on the like middle of the fold to encourage it to stay folded. It's done slightly differently to how I did it in my Sonia sweater, so that was fun to see how people do it differently. As you can see, I've done quite a lot. I've got the body knitted to the recommended length, and I'm almost at the recommended length on this sleeve. I've done all the decreases, so it's just knitting straight now until I get to the cuff, and then I just need to pick up my second sleeve and obviously do the ribbing on the body. The reason I've not done the ribbing yet is, again, I'm trying to decide if I want to block it. It's like, I really love like a dramatic blocking transformation, and I really want that with this because cables relax so much, don't they, and they grow so much. Like, this looks quite small at the moment, but I know it's gonna be perfect, and I just really want that like before and after. But I should probably block it and get the length right, because that's more important than the blocking transformation, isn't it? But yeah, this is a like drop shoulder where you knit the trapezoid at the back, pick up your shoulders, join under the neck, knit the front, a bit of shaping for the arms, knit the body, knit the arms, and the pattern's great. It's like very like long, there's lots of detail, but it's like clear, you know what you're doing. The test knit group has been really engaging. Everyone's chatting, sharing tips, talking about it, talking about yarn choices. It looks so good in like every colour. There's lots of pinks, there's loads of greens, there's loads of like neutrals, and they all look amazing. So you're going to have loads of really nice tester photos to look at when the pattern is released. The deadline is, I think, the 20th of December, so plenty of time. I will be finished well ahead of then. This is one of the ones where I've been engaged enough that I've not had like a lull and thought, oh, I'm gonna cast something new on because I can't be arsed. It's, yeah, really, really beautiful. I saw this on Sophie's podcast when she first started knitting her first sample, and I knew straight away that I wanted to do that. When I finished my other test knit for her, you get like some other patterns as a thank you for test knitting, and Sophie was like, what patterns do you want, or do you want Ravelry codes? And I was like, Ravelry codes so I can get Gwynver when it comes out. So yeah, I'm really, really happy to be test knitting this. I think that the yarn, the Peacock, I haven't used that before, and I'm really enjoying using it. It's got this like lovely bounce. It's not as rustic as a lot of people say. Sorry if you can hear the dog snoring, bless him. It's very rainy, so we're in the house this morning hoping it will ease off for a nice long walk in the afternoon. My first ball of this, when I was doing my swatch, I was about 6 rows into the swatch and there was a factory knot. I was like, are you kidding me? Because this for me is like, it's still like quite a relatively budget friendly yarn compared to some options, but for me it's like more expensive. I think it was about £70 to get enough for this sweater, and usually I'm looking at like £30 for a sweater. So for me it was a bit of a splurge. I used money that my mum got me for my birthday. So yeah, when there was a factory knot in the first ball, I was like, are you kidding me? But luckily I've not had any more since. It was a blip. It was just unfortunate that it was my first ball. This is DK, the pattern is DK. I think Sophie uses a woolen spun, like really light lofty yarn. People in the group are using like knitting for olive heavy merino, drops charisma, I think some people are using. Lots of different types of yarns, accessible yarns, and some really, really nice, less accessible to everyone yarns as well. Yeah, I'm flying through this, to be honest. I don't remember when I started it, but I just love looking at it. It's just so pretty. And again, like I was saying with my loom, where I had to knit the stockinette, I've not had that issue with this because I just find the cables and texture so engaging. So I'm definitely learning that I love colourwork, cables, texture, fun, interesting, learning new things, and yeah, pretty. Definitely recommend it. I'll let you know when the pattern comes out. Maybe I'll do a little video all about this and any tips that I've got from knitting it, because it's not aimed at beginners. It's not a beginner pattern. It's not a beginner friendly pattern, but it is. If you want to do it. Like, this is my first cabled project. It's fine, you can do it, but there's a few things that maybe just to think about when you're doing it. So maybe I'll do a separate little video about that. Okay, my last garment that I'm actively knitting on, because I've still got my husband's zipper sweater lamenting on a shelf, is a very impulsive cast on. So I have been very, very chilly this winter. I'm very cold, like unreasonably cold, and everything I'm knitting, I'm like, this isn't thick enough. I need something chunkier. So I really wanted to knit something that's very thick yarn, fluffy, soft, squishy, almost like dense, like jacket vibes, as opposed to like airy jumper vibes. So I went with the Chalcot cardigan by Coco and More Knits. Obviously you saw in the past that I did the Maud sweater, which was one of Cheryl's other patterns, and I really, really enjoyed that pattern and the process, and it was beautiful. So when she had a sale, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that cardigan. I already had this drops brushed alpaca in my stash. I bought this when I first started knitting, like literally in March this year. It's one of the first yarns I bought to do a cumulus blouse. I cast that on, I started knitting it, and I was very much in the phase where I was picking the bigger size because I was so worried about things not being big enough once I knitted them. So it was just coming out like too big. So I frogged that, and by frogged that I mean put in cupboard and frogged it about a week ago because I actually wanted to use the yarn. So I already had the brushed alpaca silk in this pearl grey colour. And then the pattern uses kind of like a blown yarn, you know, like drops air, Camaro, sneffnug, that sort of like fluffy, chunky, not chunky like Aran worsted weight, but with a air in the middle, so it's not heavy. I've not done that. I've gone for heavy. I've gone for drops Nepal in light grey mix, whatever this one is, and that is a 65% alpaca, 35% wool, or the other way around, yarn. So I've basically gone quite heavy. Like, this is going to be a weighty garment. It already is feeling quite heavy, but that's what I want. So I know that's not like the recommended drape intention, but this is what I wanted for my cardigan. So the Chalcot cardigan is reverse half fisherman's rib. It's drop shoulder. You knit the back trapezoid. I need to start knitting different constructions, don't I? So you knit this trapezoid with these really fun increase bits. I did do my increases wrong on this. When you increase in half fisherman's rib, you increase 2 stitches at a time. You kind of knit, keep the needle on, yarn over, keep the needle on, keep the stitch on, yarn over, and then knit it again. So you increase twice. And then on the next round, you purl, knit, purl. But I was purl knitting in the stitch under purl, because the way I'm doing my half fisherman's rib is the knitting in the stitch below, because I think you can do it with yarn overs as well. But this is the way the pattern does it, so that's the way I've done it. A nice lady on TikTok taught me how to do it. So I did do it wrong, but I don't think it looks bad. And then I did the increases the correct way on the front, and yeah, it doesn't look too different, so I've just left it for now. I'm fine with it, it looks fine. This is in timeout because I've cocked up. Dog snoring. I have very much got out of sync with my reverse half fisherman's rib. I don't know if you can see very well, but you can see that the last, like, I don't know, maybe 6 rows, I've been out of sync with my rib, which is not ideal, and I feel like it's going to take me so long to fix. And that's fine, it's a learning curve. I will understand how the stitch works better and stuff, but that doesn't mean it's not frustrating. I feel really like pleased with myself when I fix things, but the process of learning how to fix things and actually fixing it, stressful. I fixed the first like 2 or 3 because it did go further, but yeah, I need to look into it a bit more, and I need to do it in daylight, and yeah, it's going to take me a while. So it's kind of just lamenting at the moment because I just can't be arsed. I was enjoying knitting it so much as well. Like, it's actually quite satisfying doing the reverse half fisherman's rib, especially flat. I mean, I've not done it in the round yet. That might also be satisfying, but I've not got to that point. So yeah, it's a shame that I've made a mess of it, because I do want to knit on this and I want to wear it because it looks like such a lovely cardigan to have in my wardrobe. I'm beginning to get a bit concerned about how much yarn I have. I've already used more than 1/4 of my drops Nepal, and I've only just joined under the arms, which to me doesn't feel like 1/4 of a cardigan. I'm not sure. I did look in the pattern, and I think I've bought the amount of yarn for the size below, not my size, which isn't ideal. It is what it is. I looked on the shop that I bought it from, and they've already got different dye lots. I only bought this like 2 weeks ago, and it's already different dye lots for them. I think that the Nepal was in the like drops alpaca sale, so lots of people bought it. But it's fine. I'm holding 2 strands together, so I think if I have to buy more in a different dye lot, it won't be too bad. And I can always use the different dye lot for the button bands. It has a double knit button band. I need to add the collar. Yeah, I'm probably going to run out, but that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. It's fine. But yeah, great little pattern. I understand what I'm doing, even though it's a new technique to me. I think it looks so fun, and this is like so soft and warm, and that's exactly what I wanted. Think that it does look very like, it's like a nice cardigan. Like, I would definitely wear it out and about, but it's also going to be like my cozy house cardigan as well, so it gets lots and lots of wear. But yeah, recommend the Chalcot. I think she's also bringing out one imminently called the Windermere, which is a raglan version of the same texture and gauge. So if you prefer a raglan to a drop shoulder. That option will be out at some point. My next WIP is kind of embarrassing, the point that I've left it at. I knit the penny glove, which is part of my Petite knit. I'm sure you've all seen it. I knit this like really quickly. I knit this in like a day or two, and it's using yarn that I got at Yarndale. It's from Alongavec Anna it's the merino and the mohair. I can't remember the name of the colour, sorry. I knit this really quickly. It's like really straightforward. There's not much to think about. You cast on, you do a purl round to stop it rolling too much, you knit, there's a bit of increase in for the thumb, then you put these on hold, and then you knit the fingers, and again purl bump, cast off, pick up your thumb. Pretty straightforward. Sorry, the dog's, he's cuddling my jumper, which is very sweet, but whatever. Really straightforward, really easy. I did it on magic loop, which I haven't really done properly before, so you know, fun to learn a new technique. I wouldn't say it came very naturally to me, and that's probably why my second one is in the state it's in. So as I was saying, I knit this in like 2 days. I did it really quickly. Great fun. That's unblocked, by the way. Waited a few weeks to cast on the second one because I always have that problem. Cast on the second one, again, really quickly, knit loads of it, and then I left it at this point. What is wrong with me? Like, that is probably not even an hour of knitting. I've just got to knit a bit more of the fingers and pick up the thumb and cast off. That's all I have to do. No shaping, nothing that I have to think about. It will be so quick, so easy, and I still left it at this. So it's been like lingering like this for a week or two now because I've just not been doing it, and yeah, it's, I don't know what's wrong with me. This pretty much just summarizes me as a knitter, like enthusiasm, oh, and then okay, enthusiasm, that's like pretty much how all my projects go. So yeah, there's not really much more to say about these. It's a great little pattern. I will have quite a lot of the yarn left. I thought maybe I could make a smaller pair for my daughter to match, but it's brown and she'll be like, it's brown. Like, she's very pink, purple, rainbows, so I don't know if she'll wear it. Plus the merino is superwash, but obviously the mohair isn't, so it's not very practical for a 4-year-old that likes being mucky. So yeah, I should finish this. It won't take me very long, but I know that it's probably going to sit on my shelf until November 30th. Then I'll be like, I said I wanted to finish WIPs in November, and I'll finish it then. I'll try and finish it. But yeah, I'm really excited to wear these as well. It's getting very chilly out, especially on like that morning walk to preschool and stuff. So I do want to wear it. It's just, yeah. Another Petite knit pattern, tried and tested. You've all probably knit one. This is the Oslo hat. The yarn is Copenhagen Fibres, which is the new brand from Hobby, and this is the Merino Light. The pattern's done in DK, but I went for the light held double because my husband's head is vast, and basically 3 balls of this compared to 3 balls of DK, it just gave me that little bit extra yardage, and I was worried that I would run out if I used the DK one because it's got a big head. It was a concern when I had a child. Let's put it that way. I'm at the point where I have knitted the brim, folded it and knitted it together. I used Judy's Magic cast on just to make that easier, so I wasn't having to like re-pick up the stitches from the cast on edge. And then I've done the knitting and then the turn, and now I'm just knitting the hat part. This is going to be so cozy. Like, it already feels really thick. I'm a bit unsure if this is going to end up being my hat or his hat because my gauge is coming up a bit tight. I didn't gauge swatch because it's a hat, but yeah, it's a bit tighter than the pattern, but obviously unblocked, but I haven't blocked it to see how this yarn acts. But that's fine because I got like a burgundy colour of the same yarn to make me a hat, so we can have like matching but not too matching hats. So if this one's too small, I'll have this and he can have the burgundy in a, this is the biggest size, so I guess I'll just make it even bigger for him if I have to. I did size up my needles. It's meant to be done 3mm. I've used 3.5. So I will be surprised if it is too small, but then I knit tight, so we will see. It's all good. The yarn is, I mean, I quite like using it. It's quite nice. There are occasional bits where the yarn kind of untwists and the middle of it is white, it's not dyed. You can kind of see here where there's like a white fluffy bit, and that's kind of where the yarn's like untwisted and the dye is just on the outside and not in the middle. So there's a few bits like that that I've had in them where it is a bit noticeable, but otherwise it's fine. It is yarn. I haven't blocked it to know how it will feel blocked, but it feels quite nice. I think it'll be nice for a hat. Not much more to say about the Oslo hat, is there? I've not looked at how it does the decreases or anything yet. I've just been knitting away. This has been my out and about project. I cast it on to take to a school disco, which my daughter is in the preschool, so I had to go and supervise, and it was feral, like so feral. They basically played K-pop Demon Hunters and they all screamed for an hour. So she had lots of fun, but it was full on. And then I took this to the cinema to watch Gabby's Dollhouse with my daughter. I took it to her harvest assembly. It's been to kids' parties. So it's, yeah, out and about. And it does move my tensions pretty wackadoo. It's not perfect, but it's fine. Whatever. Hat. Looking forward to it being done. It's getting quite cold, as I said, so we do want our hats. We have a dog, which means we spend hours out the house every day, come rain or shine, walking him, so we need cozy hats. And just to say as well, I knit the brim of this a bit shorter than the pattern recommended. I think it was meant to be 10-11 centimeters folded for the biggest size. I think this is maybe 8-9, because it's quite deep in this pattern. But yeah, Oslo hat. My final WIP is in its very early infant stages, because honestly it's kind of winding me up. This is the HOTTIE sweater, which is a pattern by Paula Strict, Suzanne Muller. It's a boucle hot water bottle, pretty simple stockinette hot water bottle. I think there's some interesting knitting, shaping techniques on the neck of the hot water bottle, but I haven't read that far ahead to know that. It's done in boucle, but I'm holding a strand of fingering weight with it because I've heard that tip makes it a bit easier, because knitting with boucle is a ball ache. It's challenging. All the little loops just get caught in your needles, and I'm not particularly enjoying it, but I really want this. It's very much a product, not processed knit for me, this one, because it's so soft, it's going to be so cuddly, it's going to be really cozy for winter. I'm a big hot water bottle advocate. I've shared a pattern roundup of my favourite ones, including loads of free ones, if you also want a hot water bottle. But yeah, the boucle is just a learning curve, should we say, and it's just a bit frustrating, so I've not made much progress with it. This is the Drops alpaca boucle, and I want to say Drops for Belle. They're like sock yarn. I just had it in my yarn shop, as my daughter calls it, so I just thought I'd hold that with it, because I also didn't have enough to hold this double, I don't think. So yeah, I just used that instead. Not much more to report on that one, to be honest, because I did Judy's Magic cast on and I've just been knitting after I did the increases, and now I just need to knit the body and then work out what I'm doing for the neck. But it is going to be really cozy and I will like it. It's just when I've got other incredible projects that I'm really enjoying, it's just lower priority for me. I will also say very briefly that I did start my Peacock scarf. This is the Irish Artisan Yarns cashmere blend that I got at Yarndale to make a peacock scarf. I ended up frogging it. So in the pattern there's two charts, and there's kind of like the original chart and then there's a chart if your tension's a bit wacky. So it has increases and they're done with yarn overs, but because they're next to purl stitches on one side, it can mean that one side ends up looser than the other in the triangle. So the designer, which is Lena Home Samso, is she called, has then put in a second chart where the increase method is different if you have that problem. So I started with the chart A, which is with the yarn overs and the pearls, and my tension was having that issue. So I frogged it, and I will recast on and start with the chart B, which has a different method and will hopefully rectify that. So just a quick mention. I can't wait to wear this though, it's so soft, so soft. They are all my main WIPs. For November, I really want to focus on finishing my WIPs and getting these, at least most of these 6 finished. I plan to cast on my facet sweater, which is another pattern by Knit. It's all over colourwork, kind of quite a simple repeating pattern, but it's really effective. Again, it's Yarndale yarn that I bought in the really fun colourways. I shared that in a video if you haven't seen that. I also want to knit more of these because I am obsessed. This colour is actually my second choice colour. I did an order and the colours that I ordered ended up being back ordered, so it wasn't going to come. It's coming today actually, and I couldn't wait. It came out a few weeks ago and I was like, I'm just going to order another colour combo slippers worth and knit those. So yeah, I'm knitting another pair in like a burgundy and blue. I'm going to do a matching pair for my daughter. I'm going to adjust the pattern to make them for petite feet. She's going to have burgundy and pink. And then I wanted to get some more yarn to make some for my husband as well, but Wool Warehouse has like no colours left at the moment, so he will have to wait. So I'm going to cast on those because they're so quick and they're so fun and they're, you know, just a nice knit, and it'll be really cute having matching ones for my daughter. I haven't decided if I'll give her them now or if I'll wait and give us them both for Christmas Eve. What else have I got upcoming? I am going to be doing another test knit for Rita and Kelly. I can't remember their Instagram handles off the top of my head. It's the Scouler sweater, I think is the name. It's like honeycomb cables, colour work, 2x2 rib. It's pretty much everything that I love. I think it's drop shoulder. It's everything that I love in garments, and I thought that'd be really fun. I might use the Brick Red Drops Lima that I have in my stash if I can get gauge, which had another project in mind, but I haven't got round to thinking that one through. So I might use that, or I might treat myself to some Phil Kalana Peruvian. Use that and do it in burgundy, but we will see. I'll share more about that another time. But yeah, it's November now, the 5th, which means it's not long till December, and I'm getting pretty excited for Christmas and Christmas build up and cozy and knitting and all those fun things. So I'm hoping I'll be able to share quite a lot of the festive build up with you all. I think that'll be fun. I hope you enjoyed this little catch up and chatting with me and knitting. Let me know what you're knitting on. I'm always looking for pattern inspiration, and yeah, I will see you next time.
I keep on dancing, dancing. I keep on dancing, dancing, dancing. I keep on dancing, dancing. I spin around and do the dance.